Joined by DRF's national handicapper Mike Watchmaker, Breeders' Cup 2017, the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club, Pacific Ocean in the background. It's time to talk a little bit about the Breeders' Cup Classic. It's the big one everyone is excited about. It's the matchup. You've got really three, borderline four big horses: Arrogate, Gunrunner, Collected, and if you want to include West Coast or anyone else, so be it. Let's start off with the big horse, Arrogate. It's a situation we know his best race is simply better. Are we going to get his best race?
Well, I think he's the big horse too, Matt, but he's not going to be the favorite in the race. Gunrunner's going to be the favorite in the race, and that's the ironic thing about this Breeders' Cup. The column that I wrote for Saturday's paper and for online, I think this Breeders' Cup is about Arrogate, and he's not even the favorite in this race. But I agree with you. If he runs his best race, if he runs his Breeders' Cup Classic of last year, if he runs his Pegasus World Cup, if he runs his Dubai World Cup, he wins this race, and he wins decisively. My hope is that coming into this race fresh, which is something that Baffert talked about repeatedly. He said he messed up with Arrogate in the Pacific Classic by running him in the San Diego, and I'm going to take him at his word. And I'm also going to think that with a horse as valuable as this, and with a horse as highly regarded and respected as Arrogate, they wouldn't persevere with him and run in this race, because there's still something at stake in terms of his legacy, but also his stud value. And I think he's going to fire his best shot, and his best shot is better than what the rest of his field can produce.
Now, this is meant to be a knock against Gunrunner. All he's done ever since losing to Arrogate in Dubai is come back and just decimate everyone that's come across his path. I have a couple reservations. I'm curious what your thoughts are. One, about the quality of competition that he's faced. They're simply inferior. And do you have any concerns about the 10th furlong?
I do. I mean, he's 0 for 3, going a mile and a quarter. And those mile and a quarter races just weren't as strong as his mile and an eighth races. Now, he ran okay in the Kentucky Derby. He was close to a pace that disintegrated, but still he was beating a significant margin in that race. He was a distant third behind Arrogate in the Travers. And if you compare trips in the Dubai World Cup, I mean, Gunrunner had an ideal trip and Arrogate had a nightmare trip. And Arrogate ran by Gunrunner like he was chained to the 16th pole. I really do think a mile and a quarter might be an issue with this horse. And I think you touched on something else, Matt, that is very important. On paper, Gunrunner's last 3 wins since Dubai look big, and they were big. Fast figures, too. Weak company, ideal trips. He's going to have pace. He's going to have to work harder this time, chasing a quality pace player in Collected. It's not like he's chasing some tomato can that's, knocking out 48s. It's going to be a different deal this time for Gunrunner. If he won, it wouldn't surprise me, but I'm against him from a betting standpoint.
We talk about Arrogate and how he may or may not like the Del Mar main track. There is a horse in here that we know, main track, not a problem here. That's Collected. He beat Arrogate on the square. Now, again, maybe you want to include some of the training issues that Baffert says as far as the timing with Arrogate, but Collected has done nothing wrong on fast dirt. He's unbeaten. He's won at a mile and a quarter. He's won here at Del Mar. Why does it feel like he is just completely under the radar?
I think he is, too, and I think he's going to be somewhere in the vicinity of 5 or 6 to 1 in this race, which is insane when you consider that he beat Arrogate last time out on the square in the Pacific Classic. And I bumped into Bob Baffert this morning, and he told me, he kept on saying, don't forget Collected, don't forget Collected. And I told him the pace pressure is different this time, because just like it's different for Gunrunner, he's chasing a quality pace opponent in Collected. Collected has a quality pace opponent chasing him this time in Gunrunner. It's a different deal this time for Collected, and I think he might be exposed this time.
We have a couple of 3-year-olds that are going to take that big step up anyway. At least Pavel, he ran against elders, but maybe that was a suspect group in the Jockey Club. The real 3-year-old to talk about is West Coast. Another one of Baffert's entrants in this spot. He ran so well in the Travers. He ran so well in the Pennsylvania Derby. He's a little bit light on figs, but we know this time of year 3-year-olds can move up. Do you think he has a chance?
Well, everybody has a chance. They're good horses, but I mean, West Coast certainly merits his spot in this race. He's earned it off his recent performances, but he's going to have to run better than he ever has. And, I think that's a tough ask for him in this spot. He's going to have to improve his buyer somewhere in the vicinity of 10 points. And that's a big ask for a 3-year-old this time of year. And 3-year-olds historically against quality older horses are going to be up against anyway. I mean, all of us can point out and give examples of 3-year-olds who beat older horses in the fall. But all things being equal, I still believe that 4-year-olds and older horses have a physical edge on 3-year-olds this time of year.
We've touched on the obvious contenders. Is there any other horse that you're interested in underneath, whether it's a trifecta, a superfecta, or anything like that?
Yes, a bomber, War Decree.
I'm with you.
He's 30 to 1 on the line, and maybe watching these replays is going to get me in trouble, but I recommend going to find the replay of his synthetic track prep for this race.
100%.
At 1.25 miles, a configuration, I think it was at Dundalk, much like this configuration, a left-handed turn course. You will never see a horse win easier than he did in that spot. And he beat some quality horses. I mean, familiar names were in that race, and he's trained by Aidan O'Brien, who's got the hottest trainer in the world, and this horse has a touch of back class. At a big price, I think, in vertical wagers, he's someone that you could fool around with.
Based on the tape alone, as Mike alluded to, I considered picking him on top. I couldn't do it, but visually he was that impressive. He was fantastic in that race over there. All right, push comes to shove. Ultimately, where do you go in this spot?
I like Arrogate. I've been an Arrogate fan for a long time, and I just think he's better than these horses. I respect Gunrunner. I respect everything he's done, but I think Arrogate he's one of the Arrogate that we saw in the Travers, and the last year's Breeders' Cup Classic, and the Pegasus World Cup, and the Dubai World Cup is one of the best horses I've ever seen. That takes in a lot of territory. I'm an old guy, but, and I just think that his best race is too good for these horses.
Arrogate's best, no question, gets the job done here in this year's Breeders' Cup Classic. We'll find out if we do get his best here at Del Mar.